Oh man, I I don't even know what to say about this one. Wow. Just this movie is insane. Oh man, okay, I am just literally just rolling the camera on this pretty much, maybe about an hour after I got home from watching it. And I'm still like I tried to collect my thoughts a little bit. I got nothing, man. This is one of the most insane film going experiences I have ever had in the theater, bar none. Serenity is just, I mean, it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie at all, but holy hell, is it a fun movie? It's just the type of movie where you're just sitting there and you're just like, how the hell did this get made? Whose idea was this? Why does this exist? Oh my God. I mean, I don't know. Like to me, I'm a sucker for these types of movies, at least in the sense of how this movie was actually advertised. All right. This movie kind of ticked off a few boxes for me in terms of what I'm looking for a nice lean January release that's, by no means going to be one of the best movies of the year or anything, but at the very least is going to be kind of an entertaining time to get out of the house. Of course, it's got some good name actors, McConaughey, also Demon Honsu, love whenever that guy shows up. And Anne Hathaway's good too, depending on the role. So I was impressed by the cast. I thought the trailer for this movie was actually pretty damn good with the editing and the sound mixing and all that. I thought it really flowed together and presented a very interesting looking little tense thriller. And the premise of the movie is good too. It's just like, what line do you cross? And not only is there money on the line, but there's also personal stakes on the line versus morality. It's a very tense kind of situation, almost kind of Hitchcockian in a way. Yeah, that's not the movie we got. That's not the movie we got by a long stretch. I mean, oh my God, there are just okay. 2 minutes into this movie, we have this whole Moby Dick sequence where McConaughey is trying to catch a giant tuna, and the dude is literally pulling a knife on a couple of tourists and just screaming in their face, yelling at them to back off. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is this kind of movie. All right, all right. Um, I got to admit, I was kind of into the whole Plymouth Island setting of it all because, as a lot of people who know me know, I I'm a big fan of just island settings in general. Love me some Survivor, some Lost, some. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other examples. South Pacific is one of my favorite Broadway shows, for example. I wonder why. Tiki Room, of course. So I just like stories around islands. I don't know. There's something about the remoteness of an island mixed with the kind of the serene quality of being on an island. And I think it works. But here's the thing, this movie does play around with the idea of Plymouth Island being this kind of like idyllic location. And yeah, when it gets there, it really gets there. And this movie has one of the most dramatic 180 left turn. What the hell am I watching? What is going on? Oh my God. Oh my God. This is just absolutely bananas and ridiculous. And I can't believe this is happening. Up until that point, it was definitely a movie that felt off. Like the dialogue is honestly in some ways hilarious. One of my favorite lines in the movie is when Matthew McConaughey is literally whoring himself out to Diane Lane, and Diane Lane she basically just points out that Matthew McConaughey is a hooker, and McConaughey is just like, yeah, a hooker who can't afford a hook, and I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, this is so cheesy, dude. And this Diane Lane character is like talking about, her cat and everything, and the cat keeps getting loose, and that's like a whole subplot. And then, oh my God. Oh, Jesus. And she mentions bringing her son on, McConaughey offers her son, who's pumping gas in Miami, a job on his boat, even though apparently he's going bankrupt and he can't even afford gas. And the movie, like, just the sheer economics of this movie make no sense. And that's all before we get to the bonkers what the hell twist. That's like just setting up, like, the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie. Um, so basically, here's what we're gonna do here, folks. If you don't want to know anything about the movie, I can't really. I have to talk about the twist in this thing because it's just like it's the biggest selling point for whether or not you make or break it. All I can say is that this movie has just an insane twist that is not a good twist by any means, but it's worth watching to see unfold. It's like a train wreck. And if you're into that type of stuff, if you like So Bad It's Good type movies, go and see this thing. And honestly, I would even recommend going in blind because, as far as I knew about this movie, it did have like a 180 shift. I knew about the 180 shift, I just had no idea what it was. My God, if you gave me a million guesses, I would have never guessed what the actual setup for this movie is. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go full spoilers right now. In terms of where I would rank this is easily the worst movie of the year so far. I still have I still have Escape Room as my number one. I reluctantly put Glass at number two. I don't know. Honestly, I had a better time at this than I did at Glass. I might have this above Glass, just because I think this movie is even worse than Glass. But I cared. I was like so less invested in this on a personal level than I was in Glass, that it wasn't like this let me down. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I went in and I was like, oh man, shoot, I didn't get that lean, mean thriller starring Matthew McConaughey. No, no. I mean, this definitely, like, I feel like the end result of this movie and what this movie ultimately accomplished, for better or for worse, is a lot, like, it's more valuable than whatever sort of like lean, mean B grade thriller could have come out of if they just followed the actual premise of the movie and didn't have the 180 subversion. So you ready to get into it? All right, let's get into it. So throughout the movie, there's one of the most intriguing characters is this kind of dweeby guy in a suit with glasses, and he's running around and he's literally just missing McConaughey by like 20 seconds here and there. And like he always shows up right as McConaughey is like pushing out to go on his fishing expeditions. And so halfway through the movie, he meets McConaughey at like 2 in the morning, and McConaughey is like shipping a storage unit. And he's just like, okay, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. And they have this whole conversation, and then the dude just accidentally lets slip. He accidentally lets slip. Oh, by the way, like you're in a computer simulation. I mean, it doesn't unfold quite like that, but it's like like basically that's it. Like it's revealed the whole thing here. All right, here we go, folks. Here we go. I'm just gonna lay it out. I'm just gonna lay it out. No more setup here. This is just the balls to the walls twist of it all. The whole thing is a video game that McConaughey's son developed. McConaughey is dead. He's been dead since Iraq. The dude's been in the ground for like over 10 years at this point. Um, his character in the game is based off, I guess, a teacher that McConaughey had who is now a principal at this kid's school, and I guess they have some sort of reverence for him. I don't know. The teacher is never brought up or explained or introduced. It's just kind of like a random offhanded line. Oh boy. Oh man, oh man. So the rest of the movie, McConaughey kind of has this existential crisis. There's a lot of scenes of McConaughey just screaming his head off, which is just fucking hilarious. I mean, it's just it like the last half of this movie is so bad, but so good. It is one of those types of movies. It is just like It is baffling. It is head scratching. You're just, oh my god, it's crazy. It's just it's wild, man. This movie is wild. And you know what? Even though the storytelling is awful and it makes no sense from a logical point of view, and there's just like way, way, way more questions than answers when it comes to actually trying to lay out and explain the twist. I don't know. There's just something about how audacious it is, and it's funny. I mean, it's funny. There's just so many things. I could just go on and on. I don't want to lay everything out. I really like I feel like this could I could do like a whole commentary riff on this movie if I wanted to. The tuna, that Moby Dick tuna that I mentioned earlier, that tuna's name is Justice. And throughout the whole movie, Matthew McConaughey's son wants to murder his stepfather, who's this evil bastard of a character, and thus get justice. Get it? Get it? Oh my god. I mean, it hits you over the head. Um, Jimon Hansu is basically kind of like two steps away from being like the wise black man character, like the mystic sage. He's just trying to keep McConaughey on the right path. And he does that by hiring like six dudes to break this evil stepfather's hand so he can't go fishing. And then Anne Hathaway just forces the dude to go fishing anyways. It looks like he's like hopped up on painkillers and just half crazed at this point in the movie. And my God, this stepfather character is just like he's just written so over the top. I mean, there's literally a moment in the movie. He's just like, oh God, it's ridiculous. He's just like, this is before the twist happens, where he's just talking to McConaughey, and he's just like, hey, I've been talking to the locals, and I hear that there's this joint where you can get fucking underage girls to slap your ass. McConaughey, would you know what street that would be on? Come on, what do you guys do about girls here, huh? Demon Hansu, what do you do? It's so ridiculous. It's like everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is just like abuse. Oh, my stepson, he's into computers. Can you believe that shit? He won't even throw around a football with me. It's just wow. I mean, the dialogue in this movie is so unnatural. But here's the thing, because the whole thing is a video game and basically everyone except McConaughey is a non-playable character, and then McConaughey himself is just like literally having this existential crisis of like, oh my God, I'm a series of zeros and ones programmed into a video game. It's oh my God. And then the movie just keeps going and going, and I do think it wears out its welcome a little bit because this movie is like 2 hours long almost. And you're just like, okay, like McConaughey is just screaming and looking up at the sky and just having all these existential crises all at once. And I mean, it's just crazy. And then meanwhile, it keeps cutting back to his son, Patrick. And this, we think that these are flashbacks going on, but no, instead it's the real world, like the current timeline, like the only actual timeline that's going on in the movie. And the stepfather, is beating Anne Hathaway in the other room, and so Patrick pulls out a knife and goes to kill the stepfather right as Matthew McConaughey in the video game is killing the stepfather in the video game. And then at the very end, the son has a conversation with McConaughey, and he's just like, hey, I'm going to program myself into the video game so we can meet up in some sort of like odd cyber heaven and like have a relationship together. And then they do, and McConaughey's just like, all right, let's go off Plymouth Island and explore and see what other things you programmed into this odd video game, son. And wow, just wow. I mean, it is Black Mirror if the writers of Black Mirror had no idea what they were doing. I mean, Jesus Christ. This is just it's so crazy, people. I'm telling you, this movie is ridiculous. It is just absolutely insane. It is bonkers. It is every other adjective I can think of to describe the word crazy. Oh wow. Oh Jesus Christ. I mean, that's it. I mean, I just literally spelled out the last 15, 20 minutes for you. And it's literally just McConaughey screaming and looking up in the sky, and then all this fancy jargon about the sun, creating like is the sun actually in the game? Is it like a Tron situation? Or is he just a character in the game? You don't know. The movie doesn't know. Yeah, yeah, see Serenity if you want a batshit crazy experience, folks. That's all I can tell you. Um, it's a wild ride. It's truly one of the most like I was just losing it. I mean, I was just cracking up by the end of it. Oh yeah. And Diane Lane's son randomly comes back into the movie at the 11th hour, and then he kind of plays the moral like, oh my god, great, now we can't kill this guy because the son will be involved, and we don't want the son getting roped into it and having to keep the secret, and that goes nowhere. Just that goes fuck all, absolutely nowhere. I mean, I'm gonna just stop here, guys. I could keep going. I mean, this is like this movie is crazy. It's wild. So go see it. Go see it. I highly recommend that everyone see it in theaters. This isn't like a Holmes and Watson situation where it's like, oh God, what am I putting myself through? No, this is a situation where it's like this movie is an absolute curiosity, and I've regretted not seeing Book of Henry in theaters, and now I feel like by seeing this one in theaters, I've kind of made up for that. And honestly, guys, I'm gonna seek out more movies like this in theaters this year. I'm gonna seek out the bad stuff. I want to see train wrecks like this. It is such a fun time. And that's kind of one of my New Year's resolutions when it comes to the movies that I see this year. I'm not just gonna see the movies that look like they'd be appealing to me. I'm not going to see everything. For example, I'm not going to go out of my way to see something like A Dog's Purpose, where it's just like, oh, look at the cute animals for 2 hours. Or I'm sorry, A Dog's Way Home, I think is the movie. There's a new dog movie every year. But I will see stuff like this. And I really want to see Replicas, which is another movie that I've been hearing is just batshit insane and terrible, and I'll probably be checking out Replicas when it comes out on Amazon Prime. But I digress. All right, that's it, folks. See you guys later.